Hi, I'm Jerry Hyde, Youth Services Specialist at the Ames Public Library, and welcome to Well Read, a program about a little bit of this and a little bit of that at your Ames Public Library. And today's This and That is all about the best books of 2012. And I brought some friends here with me from the Ames Public Library, but before I include them in our little conversation about our best books, I'd like to introduce you to the fantastic flying books of Mr. Morris Lesmore. Morris Lesmore was a man that loved books, and then one day, because of a big, huge windstorm, bad storm, kind of like, the Wizard of Oz kind of tornado, but could have been Katrina too, because our author is also from Louisiana, took all the books away, took the books apart, and unfortunately had nothing to read. And he walked miserably through the pages of empty worded pages on the ground and was very sad until this woman flew by that had a balloon bouquet of books that was helping her fly through the country. And she looked down at Morris Lesmore and she gave him one of her favorite books and directed him to a building that looks much like a library. And that's how we want to begin our story, is taking a look at our library with our beginner readers and our early readers, those little young folks that are finding their own books. So we are going to begin our program today with our board books. And we have Bree and Mary Jen and Chris here with us today. And each of us, now I have mine in my hand as well, have a board book in our hand. Who would like to start?
I totally would.
You got the beep beep.
Beep beep. And Fluffy Animals. DK, which are fantastic publishers. They have Baby Touch and Feel is the series. We have Fluffy Animals and Beep Beep. There's they kind of been putting them out for years. These are the new ones, and they're so fantastic. I have recently discovered these because my daughter is 11 months old, and these Touch and Feel she cannot get enough of, and they're fantastic. Very bright colors, very simple concepts of them. Not a lot of words, but just high contrast to grab those. Lots of like holographic kind of things, grab your attention, and then each one has a little bit of a touch and feel here for the to grab your attention and stuff like that. Lots of, see that one, sticky.
Because it's stuck in the mud.
Haha. Yep, stuck in the mud. The mealtime one has that too for jelly, has that stickiness, which is just crazy. I mean, they'll just touch that and just go, because like, ooh, what is that? So it's very cool, and like I said, lots of bright colors, lots of high contrast, and lots of fun things for them to touch.
And I like the squishiness of the book itself.
Yes, and they're very durable. We've had some at the library, and you can work them and bend them and twist them and love them, and they will stick around.
And also wipe them off with your baby wipes and clean them off.
Yes, we very much encourage the board books that we show and that we have at the library. We very much encourage parents to wipe them off and clean them if they want to, because we know that babies are not going to sit there and read back and forth page by page and work nicely. They're going to put things in their mouth and chew on them, and they're going to be hard on these books. Their hands are not always the cleanest and stuff like that. So we very much encourage you. These are durable. Clean them, wipe them off, and make them right for your kids. But on the touch and feel side of things, I'm also going to talk about my second book. This is Touch and Feel Colors. And again, very simple and beautiful illustrations. Just love them. Each page, double spread, is a different color, orange like carrots and an orange. But the thing I like about this is the touch and feel parts are very big. These have smaller portions, so it's very much more motor skills to get in and touch, which is great. And then these are big, so you very much get the contrast between the soft pages or the smooth pages and whatever the contrast is, the fluffy chicks and stuff like that. So definitely two of our favorites at our house from this past year.
Framed in with the illustrations
as
well.
Yes, yeah. So, and very friendly and inviting. So. Two of my favorites.
And Chris, you've got a black and white one just for our youngest of youngest readers.
And when she talks about contrast, this definitely is contrast. It's Look Outside, and it's probably number 4 in the series, but there's lots of these. So we have these in Pickles, our alligator, for the board book bins. as you can see, it's all in contrast, but in black and white, except for the green letters. And so it's for your youngest babies. It gives them their first look of what they might see when they're outside. And you can see it's all in positive and negatives. So you see white cars, but you also see black cars. And same way with the leaves and so on. So with this book, it's babies looking outside in the morning, they see their bright sunshine, and then it goes through different things they might see during the day.
Of situations.
Clouds that come, and the turtles don't mind, and of course at the end we have happy ending where the sun comes out again, and there it is. So very high contrast, but it's really good for those very young infants' eyes to look at and see. So.
And again, a nice book to chew on.
A nice book, again, nice board
when
books.
they're
Yep.
reading, so.
Pickles is full of them. So.
Mary Jane, you have a little bit more of a difficult one, a higher level type of
Yes,
reading
this
one.
is slightly different from the others that we've talked about. This is a Christmas Carol, and this is a series by Jennifer Adams, and the series is called Baby Lit. And it has A Christmas Carol, Jane Eyre, Pride and Prejudice. She's coming out with Sense and Sensibility. And
Dracula.
Dracula,
yes.
yes.
Which is cool.
Yes, and she's really great into, she's great the way that she takes these classics and she makes them for babies, because this, as you can see, is a black hat. So she's doing a counting primer, or a colors primer for this one. Black hat, silver chains.
To hear about your little
Stars. And the colors in these are really eye-catching because they're not really colors that you typically see in a baby book. You know, they're not the sort of high contrast. They're not the very primary colors. They're a very different set of colors. And they're just really beautiful illustrations. And these are really fun, actually, I think, for adults. And I think the kids would sort of like them, but maybe not appreciate them as much as the adults. And these are a really great gift book, I have found. I have given them to friends of mine who have kids, and they just love them. So it's sort of a nice introduction to the classics.
And remember, we are bringing our experiences and the A Christmas Carol story, full story to that book when we are looking at it, where a child is definitely just looking at the black hat and where it fits on the bald-headed man. It's on the right-hand side.
It's also one of those, like, especially with these younger sets, they want to read the same things over and over and over again. And so this is one that lends itself, because we've read the original story and we have like that background to it. I would way more likely read this over and over and over again because it has that appeal to me too.
Comfort to you.
Yeah, and so it's making that connection too, because you can share that with your child. Part of, you know, if you've read the original and then you can share that with your child, that builds a special connection. So.
There's also enough detail in the illustrations that they can pick out different things you could play games with as they get older.
That's very
You can
true.
start finding more things in there to look at. You know, where's the blue fish?
Yeah,
So on.
exactly.
Very interactive. Well, talk about interactive. Pickle Time by Sandra Boynton. I read this. I don't have little ones of my own, but I have little grandchildren. And Azra and I read this one, and she just loved being tickled, and we giggled, and we were ready, set, go. My older grandchildren loved it as well, because we all tickled together. So you can never go wrong with a Sandra Boynton book, as you can't ever go wrong with
Llama Llama! I love Llama Llama, if you can't tell. Very much the action and stuff like you did with the Tickle Time. Anna Dudney has the regular Llama Llama set that she normally does, but she came out with board books this year, and there's 4 of them. Brought 3 of them along today. Nighty Night and Wakey Wakey. Exactly what they say. Going to bed processes that kids are familiar with, waking up in the morning processes, brushing your teeth, putting on your pajamas, things like that. Then she also has Hippity Hop, which is just movement and activity and up and down and bouncing around and giving hugs. And one about going to the park, Zippity Zoom. So very, very fun ones. She keeps with her standard rhyme that she kind of does throughout. Llama, llama, hop, llama, llama, jump, llama, llama, red pajama, thump, thump, thump. And she continues going along. So they're very short, very cute, and lots of action. A little friend of mine loves them so much, and she will go through and she will do it all with you, jumping and squatting and stamping her feet. And it's just cute to see, because they're all actions that the kids are going to know and learn as they go around.
And they really identify with Llama Llama.
Very much so. And the rhymes are very cute because they're catchy and they grab you too.
Yeah, go ahead and
But
go
it
right on up to our next age group.
Because Anna Dudney also has a picture book out that's new this year too, all about Llama Llama, time to share. And hers are very much taking lessons in life as Llama Llama has grown up, going to school for the first time and things like this, and this is learning how to share. And Llama Llama does not want to learn to share with her new friend. Her new friend, GNU friend. Ha. It's cute. Her new friend that just moved in next door comes over and wants to play with Llama's special friend. And sometimes sharing is fun, except when she takes her special friend. And so it's very much a learning, parents are involved, learning when's the appropriate time to maybe put your toys away if you don't want to share, or getting them out, and how sharing can be a lot of fun. So definitely another Llama Llama one to look forward to this year.
A nice venue to talk and have that conversation with your child about day-to-day life. I happen to have one about day-to-day life too, about Chloe.
Yay.
How many of us have, hopefully we don't all have as many children as rabbits do here, but our little child here, Chloe, has now gotten a little sister and a little baby sister and lots of brothers and sisters, but she just loves having family time. But family time now has turned into Dad and Mom have brought home a television set. And oh my goodness, you know what everybody does. All the brothers and sisters, they all go and watch the television. But Chloe doesn't really care for everybody. You know, they watch TV after they've ate. Everybody's watching TV but Chloe and the little baby. And they don't want to, and they get right in front of the television, and of course they get in trouble. And so what Chloe and her little sister does is go and play in the box, and it's got the little bubble wrap, and they start popping it.
Yay.
And the other brothers and sisters come too. But you know, Mom and Dad don't necessarily like that they're all going away. They're still watching the television, and they're making too much noise, so they send them all to bed. Only after they go to bed, only to hear the pop, 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 because Daddy's playing with the bubble wrap. So a very nice little story about, maybe a little lesson for Mom and Dad, that maybe they should be playing with their children and not watching TV, but also how children can like and enjoy those wonderful little simple things like a box, an empty box.
An empty box.
Chloe by Peter McCarty.
Go on. Mm-hmm. I'd love to talk about this one. This is called Baby Bear, or Baby Bear Sees Blue by Ashley Wolf, and we have lots and lots of bear books if you're into bears, but this is not just another bear book, because in it talks about Baby Bear going through his day, and each time he wakes up and he asks his mother something about what is that's here it says wakes up and he stretches his stubby legs, and then he says, what's that looking at me, and so on. And what this book does is it ties in all the colors. So here he says Baby Bear sees yellow. She describes to him that it's the warm sun, he sees yellow. And then it goes on to where he sees something else. What is that? That's, right out there in front of the cave, and it's the green leaf. But he just sees green. And so it's a great book that goes throughout, meshing the two stories of a bear and colors. And my favorite page is when it gets to the rainbow, because you've gone through all of these different colors, and then there's a storm, so he sees gray, and after the gray storm comes out the rainbow. So it's my favorite page in that one. But it's a very, very nice, gentle read. It'd be good for one-on-one, it'd be good for bedtime, and so on. So I thought that was really cool to have the two concepts mixed.
Yeah, when I read that story, I was thinking about, we define, or we say, oh, look at the tree, and what our children actually see are those colors. Mm-hmm. And as they're learning their vocabulary, color is probably one of the first concepts they really take in and enjoy. So
right.
I thought it was a wonderful book.
I loved reading it. So.
Well, since we're on an animal theme, Boot and Shoe is adorable. This is by Marla Frazee, and this is a story about Boot and Shoe, and they're named Boot and Shoe because they're little prints, they're socks as we sometimes call them. Boots are a little bit higher and shoes are a little bit lower, so that's how they got their name, which I think is just adorable. But the pictures too are just so fun to look at, and sort of on a, not on a white page either, sort of a cream speckled page, which makes it a little bit different too. But sort of muted colors, but the dogs really pop out in all of them. And this is the story of Boot and Shoe, who are just best of friends. They do everything together. They eat together out of the same bowl. They pee together on the same tree. At night, they sleep in the same bed. They do absolutely everything together except one is a front door pooch and one is a back door pooch. And so they spend the whole day on their respective porches. And they go on living life like this until one day a squirrel comes.
Those pesky squirrels.
And this is indeed a pesky squirrel because he makes all sorts of trouble. He just comes in there and just disturbs the peace, and he ends up chasing the two dogs around. And I think this is my favorite picture because it just shows the chaos of what this squirrel has done to their lives. And you can see the squirrel and everywhere he's going and where the dogs are chasing him and just going around the entire house. And then at the very end, one ends up on the front porch and one ends up on the back porch, but each dog is on the wrong porch. And they want to know where the other dog is, but they're just going to wait on their respective porches, figuring that the dog is going to return to his correct porch. And they end up waiting and waiting and waiting, and they're looking under the chair and they're looking under the flower pot, and neither dog is coming back to their right porch. And so they end up waiting and waiting, and they get really sad and lonely. But then, as happens to all of us, nature calls. And so after waiting all this time, they end up going to the tree that they both pee on together. And they find each other, and they are absolutely overjoyed, and they're rejoicing to be back together again. And they go back inside, and despite the fact that it's the middle of the day, they both go sleep together on their bed. And I just thought it was a lovely little story about friendship and how people can, or how dogs can build.
They're symbolic of
Yes, can build these bonds, and how things can sometimes shake them up, but still the bond of friendship is there. And I just thought it was adorable.
And I think we can all identify with that chaos that goes on in any of our worlds. So I think you have a chaotic.
I do have a chaotic and animal and all kinds of things too. Yeah, wolf won't bite. We all know the story of the three little pigs and the wolf that likes to bite. But this book is different because this is the circus pigs, and they are advertising, come one, come all, see this wolf that will not bite. And they can dress him up in a bow and he won't bite. And they can stand on his back and he won't bite. Come, he can stand on a stool and he won't bite. Or will he? Let's see how much we can do to this wolf before he won't, or before he decides that he wants to bite. We'll let you read and see how it ends. I'm not going to give it away, but a very cute kind of spin on the three little pigs. So lots of fairy tales and stuff get done over and over again, and this was a really cute one from this past year that came out.
I think you have another kind of a twist with the Z is for moose.
Yes.
That's very, very interesting as well.
Super cute this year. Lots of talk, although it didn't end up winning, but lots of talk for like Caldecott and stuff because it's so cute. But Z is for moose. Everyone knows that A is for apple, and B is for ball, and C is for cat. But did you know that D is for moose? No, D is not for moose. But Moose is so excited to be in the alphabet that he pops up in D. And no, Moose. Keep going. We're not at M yet. Okay, so we keep going through the alphabet, page by page, and he pops up again, and he pops up again. No, we're not there yet. It's kind of getting annoying to the other animals until M comes along.
And he should be M is for moose, right?
No, M is for mouse.
Ah,
Oh,
poor
not moose.
Very disappointing for moose.
Poor Moose. And he is very, very, very sad and starts kind of throwing a temper tantrum. as mooses do, right? We see O, and he's stepping in the P for pie, and he's, scaring that queen, and not being a good moose. And eventually he gets sad, and he realizes that he's not wanted in this alphabet until the other animals see that maybe Moose deserves his just day, and Z is for Zebra's friend Moose, and he comes back around. So just a fun play on the alphabet. We know kids and people are always looking for alphabet books. This is a very fun one because it kind of interrupts it in a very fun and playful way, but you kind of go through the emotions of Moose along the way. So a really, really cute one from this year.
You want to go underground, Chris?
I want to go underground because you're talking about all the above ground things and animals, but I'm always drawn to the really artsy books. And so this would be one that I would say, it's by Denise Fleming, and it's wonderful rhymes, not lots of text to it, but her artwork is so beautiful. And I have to add that we're going to be going underground with a lot of our programs next summer.
Yes, we
so
are
this
going
is
to
an
dig into reading this
ideal
summer.
book for it. But it talks about how we go down, low down, and then way down underground. And then it keeps going, and all this simple rhymes, but her illustrations are just so beautiful. And they're bright colors, but they're a different type of palette, I think. It's not solid colors, so
they're
it just
very
find it
blended.
very interesting to go through. And it just keeps going about all the things that could be down, underground, and the things that are tunneling, and all those great things. So I really, really like this book because I'm also a big fan of nature, so all things nature are something that I would go for. And what's even better is at the end then she shows her creature identification. And I love that about books. So you get the kids' interest with everything that you've read about, and then you can go back and you read real facts. So I think
non-fiction part.
Yeah, and I think it adds appeal to other ages then. So you could start with really young children, but older children will really get a kick out of this too. So I love the turquoise color.
Yeah.
So
I love the way there's the cross section of the above ground and below ground, so you can see like the children above ground and what they're doing, but at the same time, you know, what the frog is doing
Yeah.
under the ground, and the worms burrowing underneath. So it's sort of like two worlds simultaneously
It is.
living their lives.
Yeah, you very much get the perspective of the things going on down there.
that it's not always so quiet and just dirt. It's lots of stuff going on. So.
Well, you have another nature type of one there.
I do.
too,
Again,
that
artsy.
is wonderful.
Have to say it's artsy, but this was Green by Laura Vaquero Seeger, and this did win Caldecott Honor, and it is just beautiful. She starts out talking about some of your very standard greens. You've got your forest green and your sea green, and as I turn this, I don't know if you notice, but even the greens have got little tiny cutouts. I actually did this story for kids in preschool up through 3rd grade, and they loved it. So you could do a lap sit with a small child, or you could do it with the older ones, and each time you sort of guess what's coming next because of the cutouts. So you could feel it. You also see all that texture and everything else. She goes on from her normal colors of greens until you get to, where's my wacky green? Oh, this one was cool, khaki green. So it actually turns into some of the words. Fern green, wacky green. I love that one. Who's ever heard of a green zebra? And so you keep on going then, and from then on, it's not your normal greens, it's actually words that describe what the creature is.
Cute.
So an inchworm is a slow green, and so on. And it just has, again, very nice rhyming, simple books or wording in it and everything. And of course, here we have never green, of course. So I would recommend this for anybody that likes greens, colors, artsy stuff. It's just
So I want to
excellent.
see
And the
that book
texture is
in
so neat.
blue, and then
Yes.
in red,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
because it's
Yeah.
so gorgeous that you
Yeah.
just want to see more of it.
And it just really brings you into the whole thing. The texture, I want to feel it. I'd love to feel her original paintings for that, because I bet you they feel really cool too.
And I love that she has the whole gamut of greens, because, you know, sometimes I'll hold a book up and, you know, have a room of preschoolers and say, what color is this? And some kids will say, well, it's green, or some kids will say, well, it's yellow, and you're like, well, it is sort of yellow and it is sort of green. And so it's tricky to have that conversation when you're just trying to get the colors down. But with this, it just goes through the whole spectrum. And
It's like you have on different colors of greens today. You should have done this
I
book.
did that on purpose.
Well, but we'll let her do her green.
Yeah,
so
so
she's
she's
saying
I
this
love
one
that
very
one
much
too.
matches,
Another
yes.
nature.
Exactly. This is very much nature, more the realistic side, because this is all photographs. This is Step Gently Out by Helen Frost. She wrote the poem, and Nick Leiter, he did the photographs, and they are just stunning. I mean, the poem is lovely, and I think it's really a great accompaniment to the pictures, but the pictures are just, I mean, it's unbelievable to think that somebody can get this close to nature, this intimate with nature with the camera, because the pictures are just fascinating. So I think this is a really great book for beginning readers. As you can see, the text is large. There's not a lot of it on each page. Beginning readers would really love it. I think any child would probably be fascinated, but look how close you can get to this bug. Like, all of the animals are just really right in your face in a good way. Generally, the kids
This
who
is where you want them to be close up
Yes.
and in your face.
Yes.
Yes,
not real life,
exactly. So your kids who love science, who love real life things, who want to hear a real story, would probably enjoy looking at this. Kids who love poetry, I think, would probably enjoy it too. And this page toward the end is just my absolute favorite. The morning dew, and it's even, I mean, on the branches it's amazing, but on the spider web too, it's just stunning. And you can see the little tiny spider there too. And it's just a really fabulously done picture.
And then at the end, does that have something
Yes,
too?
this one
I was
does
gonna say,
too.
thought
Just
it
like
had-
Underground, it has a little bit more information. So this would be good even maybe growing up with a child, you know, who might in the beginning just like to look at the pictures and then starts reading the words, and then once more curiosity starts to percolate, then they can read the back and find out more about each of the different animals that's shown in the beginning. So.
I could see them going on nature walks after this and trying to find how many of both of those books, how many of those creatures and insects can you find.
Oh,
So
indeed.
that would
And
be
what
fun.
wonderful illustrations. We've gotten several from making paper and maneuvering, manipulating the paper and making the illustration to real life photographs. That reminds me of one of the ones I have, because all of that takes some organization here. And a friend from the library gave this to me, or pointed this one out to me. She works in circulation. I think we probably all know who it is. But this is called the Conductor. And inside, we begin with our nature picture and our trees in kind of an odd new age type of look. But we have a little man that's on top that right now he's climbed up to the top, but then he starts his music, and the music of creating and making nature work in the way that it works, such as what we've been talking about. The leaves all turn into birds and fly away, and then he brings them all back again to the end, where he starts again by planting another tree. So wonderful artistic way of.
And it's beautiful because it's wordless.
I was going to
It's
say,
wordless.
it's wordless, so it
just
would be
telling the
wonderful for the
story.
kids to sit and tell you
And tell
what's
the story.
happening in this page.
So
Because
that's how
neat, too.
we conduct our world there. So let's see, what do you think? Who would like to go next? I think we've got some.
Yeah, I'll do this one.
Yeah.
I loved this one. Kind of more information and stuff like that, but Abraham Lincoln, always a popular one of our most popular presidents, I think. Everybody loves learning about him in school and stuff like this. And this picture book by Lane Smith, who got a lot of praise last year for Grandpa Green and stuff, is back with just another beautiful one. Abe Lincoln's Dream. And it is about how there's lots of animals that are in the White House a lot of times, and there's a room that they avoid in the White House. The animals, and even a lot of the people, won't go in this room because the ghost of Abraham Lincoln is in there. And Abraham Lincoln will not leave this room until one little girl decides to go in.
Youth.
The power of youth, asking questions and keeping an open mind. And Abraham Lincoln is very sad. He has this recurring dream that he's on this boat in really rocky waters and he's not going anywhere. He's sailing somewhere and he has no idea where and he's not happy. And she says, well, why? Let's go out and see the world and see why you're upset. And he's like, no, I haven't left. I haven't left the White House. And she's like, well, you need to come see. And so she takes him around and shows him all of the things that have happened in our world since he was president. Since 1865, a lot of things have happened. And so he's asking, do we have a United States? Have they all been united? Yep, we did that. And it's working out quite well. Well, that's great, but, do we have equality for all? And, are men still fighting with each other and stuff like that? And she's like, yeah, some of those things are good. Some of them we're still working on. But overall, the Founding Fathers would be very happy of what's going on in the world. And even over the moon. And so she takes them and they go and they discover and he sees that, yeah, we've even landed on the moon. So we've gone a long way since he was president. And it kind of helps him as a ghost, ghosts often have unfinished business, and he realizes that a lot of the things that he put into place have happened, and the world is a better place now. And the book ends with the little girl having a dream that Abe Lincoln is sailing away, and he has a smile on his face, and the waters are all
colorful dream.
Very colorful, yes, and very happy and stuff. So just a wonderful interpretation on a myth that's been going on forever in the White House, that there's a ghost of Abraham Lincoln haunting and taking it and kind of discovering why there would be a ghost there. And
it is a true story that Abe Lincoln had this dream. In fact, he had it recurring. Again, a bit of notes on the back that says that even the night before he died or was assassinated.
Yeah, he often had the dream before something big happened.
Yep.
But he obviously doesn't know all the things that would have happened. And so, so it's very cool.
I like the way Lane Smith takes real life things, even the Grandpa Green. He takes these real life events or things that have happened and he turns them into these picture books that can appeal to all ages, really.
All ages. It's super cute because, they tell jokes in this. They're corny little jokes, but kids will love them. They're funny for kids.
But adults will like it too.
It's this very what's been going on and patriotism and this, what's happened in our world. So it's a very serious kind of thing, but then it's also lighthearted and it's very much from this little girl's perspective of how our world is now. It's very cool.
I know we have many books on our table, but I know there's two that I would like to, there's one about octopuses that I would like to hear, and then The One Cool Friend.
Squid and Octopus by Tao Nu is hands down my favorite book this year. I adore this book, and you can just start right with the cover. It's a squid and an octopus, but look at the hats. They are so cute. He's got his little chapeau and this little knitted one that goes all the way to the top of his, with his little ear warmers. It's just so cute. And this is a story, or 4 stories actually in one, that sort of focus on friendship in all of them in their different ways. And they have just different adorable little things that happen. So in this one, the coral squid is a fabulous knitter and is knitting all of these socks for his hands. And then Octopus comes along and says, socks? We wear mittens. We don't wear socks. And then there's this big kerfuffle. Do we wear socks or mittens? Socks or mittens? And you can see all the socks and mittens going about there. And so they go and ask Turtle, who do we wear socks or mittens? And he's like, well, we wear scarves and earmuffs. And they're like, well, that's silly. And then so they go back and they say, well, maybe we wear socks and mittens. And so they both swap half their socks and half their mittens. And then you can see them having tea here. And it's just adorable, and it's a really great color scheme that's sort of unique and just really adorable pictures, very cute sort of morals, and all of them are about how friends are to each other and how friends are there through thick and thin, and whether they do silly things together, they do fun things together, or comforting each other and things like that. They're all just really, really fabulous stories. So I highly recommend Squid and Octopus.
And it's funny she should talk about sea creatures, because this is not a sea creature, but another water creature, I guess I could call it. So yes, we have One Cool Friend by Tony Bazzeo. Hope that's how you pronounce it. But I love this book. I read this and I thought it was so cute because we've got Elliot who dresses in tuxedos. So the first thing you notice is that there's a lot of black and white in this entire book with very few accent colors. And Elliot lives with his dad, and they don't look like they have a whole lot in common. But here's his dad. He wears his plaid suits. They end up going to an aquarium one day, and Elliot decides he'd like a penguin. It has interesting. Well, okay, a tuxedo, penguin. There's that tie-in. Dad's kind of not right all with him. He doesn't quite understand what's going on here. Here's Elliot, and what happens is he ends up asking his dad if he can have the penguin. His dad thinks he's talking about a gift where they have the stuffed penguins. Sure, go ahead, here's $20. Hands it to him. Elliot immediately goes to the penguins, empties his backpack, stuffs a penguin in it, and goes home. And so then it becomes a story about a little boy and his pet and all the fun things that he can do, including getting ice rinks going. There's the hose going all the way up the steps of the big mansion. He has the ice rink. They're skating. They're doing all kinds of things. He has to go to the library to find research out. And this is the first page you get a clue that maybe his dad and him are not quite so different after all. This is also one of the first pages that after I read the book and then came back through it,
I'm catching more and more.
I caught more and more things that gave you the clue. They're not so different, such as, and I'm going to point it out, the green turtle on the wall. And his footstool and the color of his clothes. And you keep going, and here all this stuff goes on. Elliot with the penguin in the freezers. Luckily, he says the penguin had the foresight to move the ice cream politely to the front, so his dad didn't notice he was there. Until at the very end, his dad's going to go in and have a bath, and he says, "Wait, I left my penguin in there. Oh, I'll just set him on the hamper and do my best not to splash." And it's like, all of a sudden, "Elliot! Young man, where did this penguin come from?" as Elliot's father demanded. You want to know the ending? He says, "The southern tip of Argentina," Elliot said. "That's right," his father said. As for Captain Cook," he added, "he came from the Galapagos Islands." And here his dad's had a pet tortoise all along, and you never see that until you get to the end, and then you go back and you read it again, and it's like, hello. So I love this story. I thought it was really, really cool.
And what was
Great
really nice
storyline.
too, that he found out where the penguin was at by visiting the library.
Just as his dad did. So this was a Caldecott Honor book, so I encourage anybody to go and get this one. I just loved it. And I like penguins too. So.
Well, we've got lots and lots of books. As you can see around our set here, we have more. These are just the ones that we've chosen to choose to show. We have more that we haven't had time to talk about.
Oh, yes.
But we do have a list, and we do have a blog that our readers and our viewers can go out and watch. And so just like in the fantastic flying books of Mr. Morris Lesmore, you can come and join us at our library and share in the books that will talk to you as they do in this book. Until then, happy reading.